Oh, yeah, baby. Hey, Katie Boo. Hey, girl, how be you? I forgot to mention there is a section in that ASMR video that you made where you do like that metal comb. That actually works where you're just whispering, where you're not doing the, okay. Are you sleepy? Because, you know, whatever. I saved that picture, you know I did. I am going to masturbate to it. Humpy hump my pillow, do the hump. The humpty hump. So, here's your chance to do your dance. Do the humpty hump. Like I said, we'll have to come up with some sort of like 2-minute, like, strip routine where it's not actually strip as in you taking off clothes, but you just showing off your body and your moves. It doesn't even have to be to music. Oh, shit. Oh. Kind of foggy out, it looks like. Huh. Hey, Bundle Baby, your body's kind of changed. I think you've lost weight and you're like all skinny and shit now. I mean, you're always kind of on the tall, slender side, but you still had an ass. I guess you're just dumb now. That's all I had to say. I forgot to mention that. I gotta let this run out to just over 4 minutes, so fascist tube doesn't throw a fit. Or they don't throw a fit, they're just, bitches. Rats and weasels and all that. Oh, shit. I can kind of see your hip strap there, but it was not really the right kind. And it looks like it wasn't the right in the front either. Just a little bit too thick, a little bit too, wide in the front. I'd have to look at it again, but I could show some templates, not collages, but templates, I suppose. I did mention that movie Weekend at Bernie's, the first one, that girl Tammy. The back, the whale tail is crap, but the front's pretty decent. Now that's swimwear, so it's thicker material, more robust and whatnot. So, but decent. But I've got some. I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Like I said, you never know. With AI and shit. What's her name? Haley the whore. Not Hazy Haley. But that goth chick, she's married to some putz. That's weird. That's really weird. I'm assuming they're married. Maybe they're just dating. Because he does. He looks like just some putz. Apparently he works at a golf course. Is what that looked like. That company I used to work for, I forgot to mention that. That's another thing. They would supply material to golf courses. Because it's not just, dirt. I got dirt with like manure and sand and shit in it, for their like, the where you tee off and then where you putt. And I think the sand traps are probably just straight up sand. I don't know. But, and the fairway, I think, is just dirt, with grass. But anyway, I've never run a big boy operator or excavator. I've just run the little ones. Well, I'm assuming they're all standard, because loaders, sometimes you have the 2 sticks, sometimes you have the 1 stick, sometimes you have the 2. You know, like the one I was running had 2 little knobs that you would run with just your fingers, you know, for the big boom and the bucket, you know, and whatnot. So, and you could kind of cheat. They had a mode where you could just boom, you know, and it would go back to the, well, never mind. But some of them you actually had to, you know, like, okay, I've run one, like sometimes it would stop working, and the one that I operated at the other place just for one day, which I knew it would, I'd lower it, boom, and then like flatten it out, and then you recognize where the bucket needs to be. Otherwise, you're digging holes. Anyway, yeah, I just did this, whatever. And that's it as far as heavy equipment. I ran a compressor once at a job site where I was running a water truck on site because I didn't have my tanker endorsement at the time. And that's it. Different types of skid steers. Bobcat, John Deere, and Caterpillar brand. And they operate a little bit different the way the stick's set up, you know, how you steer and how you operate the bucket. Various different types of farm tractors and implements and all that stuff, and blah, 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 blah. So she's married to a putz who works at a golf course. And she's a goth chick. That's interesting. Or dating one or whatever. Same thing with Hazy Haley, the whore. Her boyfriend or husband is just a schmuck. Just a schmuck. I mean, he sounds like a schmuck. He looks like, I'm assuming, I never really paid attention, but she never used to like show him, and now all of a sudden she is. Or maybe she showed him all the time and I just never noticed. Because she is kind of on my list now, because like I said, how it would work is I would, I'd check her stuff. It would just stumble across as a short, and every time, it's like I would always forget, damn, that girl looks like Bunny Humper. And then it's like, oh yeah, it's that chick. The comedic duo of, sexy and funny, original one-off, woohoo, and just they're so, and he's bringing home, or she's making all the money, she's sitting on the gold mine. A chump like that probably doesn't even work at all. I don't know, or he works at McDonald's. Maybe he's the manager just for like status, like, yo, babe, I'm a responsible man. I don't work at McDonald's. I manage McDonald's. But and she's just whatever. I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me. But boys be different and shit. They have egos and stuff and shit, girl. Yeah, they just fucking. So maybe she's just like, look, here's a chump who's. I've got him somewhat dialed in, when we first started, and maybe they're high school sweethearts, I don't know, but, he's not really, he's just a dude, they're just a boy and a girl. He's not the man, running the show, and she's the, the girl along for the ride, I mean, she's it, Whether she knows that or not. And she does have a cute, she looks like Bunny Humper, for crying out loud. So she's more, like I said in that other audio presentation I was talking about the other day, there's like that exotic look. And then there's like the cute look, and there's the girl next door look. See, my future wife, God, I almost said Bunny Humper, Katie Boo. I mean, yes, she's cute, but that's not how I would, define her. She's cute. No, she's beautiful. She's gorgeous. She's amazing. And I mean that not as a simp. Oh, you're so pretty. No, she's beyond pretty. And she's older, so her wings are dry. Whether or not she knows how to use them, probably not. But I'll show her that. I won't literally show her. I mean, I guess I could, like, kind of slowly be like, okay, here's the workout, Ben. See, what you do is you bring your hip around, and then you do this, but I won't be like, But, like an instructor, this is what I want you to do. Yeah. And I think she'll be cool with it, because, like I said, she's a good Christian girl. She better be, otherwise it won't work. I won't settle, because I'm different, you know what I mean? But you just said she's the most beautiful girl you've ever seen in your entire life. Yeah. And if she doesn't do what I want sexually, she might as well be the ugliest damn fucking girl in the world. So, because it'll fade out, she'll just turn into some girl that I cuddle with and kiss goodnight, and watch movies with, after a few years, because everything, like, settles in, the newness and the novelty wears off. That's why, as a dude, you need to keep, kind of switching things up and shit like that, because that goes both ways. But yeah, I come home from work and there she is, she's made me, a nice, healthy meal, it's like, that's great. It would be really awesome though. So, if you throw on some sexy panties or a thong and, we'll do that, so it's like, that's a game changer. That's a deal killer. It would just be temporary. So, and I'll be able to know if it's legit or not. So, I mean, if when a troll did that sort of shit, and this isn't complete another fucking bullshit, because she's just a secret fan, of course, because why wouldn't she be? So she's like, oh, okay, I can do that. No, you need to be about it. If you're faking it, I'll pick up on it. You might be able to fool me for a bit, but I will. So, but like I said, it's not, it's panty, and it's not like, it's not a disgusting panty fetish. I don't want to, wear your dirty panties on my head or chew them or any fucking roll them up and smoke them or any stupid fucking shit, that the faggots here on earth would be about. I'm not into anal. Let's faggot shit. If you're gay, then you're gay. You poor bastards. I pity you. Why would anybody in their right mind make that decision? It's not a choice. But if you're heterosexual and you're like, dude, and it doesn't matter, lick it, you're plowing her from behind, and you stick your finger up her, dude, faggot, if you're willing to, what else are you willing to do? Stay away from me, you goddamn psycho. So, my dick will occasionally slide over it, if we're doing so. And again, dudes, if they're into the panty, like, rubbing, it's like, you're doing that wrong, dude. She needs to be, the whole, like I said. And you got to have a circumcised dick, otherwise it's all moist and pink and stanky and all that shit. You nasty fuck boy, you fucking your, flesh condom or whatever, half the time on the outstroke. And that argument doesn't work with me. It's more sensitive. Right. So you're a tight, wet hole kind of guy, I see, and those are your only options. Me, I got options. And I let, like I said, face me, straddle me, panty smooth groove, work the angles, thong, up and down the butt crack, between the butt crack, maybe work it down low, throw your hips out and slide it in between and slide it up between, then on the backstroke, it'll, above there, dry. Maybe we'll do the lube, maybe we'll do the jockstrap thing, so you can, it's not up against, like I said, the material, the narrow seam, no seam, we'll find the proper cut. sometimes with none, just naked, So, I'm going to rub the head of my dick, on your vagipus as well, puff it up. So, and of course the thong pussy hammock, all puffed up, all right, shit. If you got the right kind, you might not, your labia majora, whatever. You might not have the volume. But I'm kind of thinking you kind of do. But maybe not, though. Maybe not on the puff side, the puff squeeze side. Even though you got 2 breakfast sausages up in the front. I guess that's all I gotta say. Not to objectify you, but like I said, my fetish is, like clean and smooth, It's not like you're engaging in sexual debauchery or anything like that. Nah, that's for these fake kids, Like I said, don't spit on my dick. Do it like this. There you go. Again, your old boyfriend. She never sucked my dick like that. She just sort of bobbed on it. Shit. Communication. Or maybe you did. Hell, I don't know. But, when I come, this is how I want you to do it. Huh? It's kind of a combination. Don't jerk it. Just continue doing this. And kind of smear it on your face, so on your cheek and then back. Sucky, sucky, boop, and, So, the sensation does change a little bit, for me on my end, so it's like, but that's how I prefer, and I'm going to let you, because you won't think that shit on your own. So, if you want to swallow, that's up to you. That's, whatever. I mean, I'll be sure and eat lots of pineapple and strawberries and shit, because that changes how it tastes. And smells. But, God, I remember one time this is a long time ago, I was doing that pathetic, masturbation thing, which I do so much. Humping my pillow. It was a different pillow, but, I blew my load and I drank a lot the night before. And it straight up smelled like Jack Daniels, because that was my drink of choice at the time. It kind of had like more of a glossy finish to it. So it was kind of weird. I guess that's all I got to say, baby.